make sure you have enough time. Make sure you have enough time to go through with the bookings. Always schedule your bookings at specific times, but give yourself at least 2 hours minimum windows with schools. Um, I don't do tents, tables, or chairs. My business partner does those. So I've been trying to get her to become a vendor for the same counties. And well, I guess whenever she does, then she can start getting the bookings for the same counties or whatever. But I'm also getting into the cities, city of Monroe, city of Atlanta, city of Riverdale, city of Decatur. I want to branch out and get into the city so that when the city have different events, I could be setting up at park events with them and the large like mayor events where they want bounce houses or um,
I'm sure
any.
they have an office of special events.
Yes. Yes. So I'm trying to get in with those type of events. Like I said, the school orders, they'll come to your website. You don't really have to do much here. As long as you're a vendor or as long as you are paying for Google Ads, they'll come to your website. And if you're not listed as a vendor, some schools will help you, some schools won't. Just depends on the school. Um, but you got to do research and find out how to become a vendor. That's the biggest thing down here in Georgia is becoming a vendor so that you can just get the orders. Because now I'm working with colleges. I have Clayton State University, Georgia Tech. I got a few colleges that are booking. I've had frat houses book, but now I'm getting colleges that are booking equipment just because I'm a vendor now for the different counties.
That is awesome, Quita. That's amazing. I love that. Like, I didn't even think about colleges and how many events that they do regularly throughout the year that they could be booking all of these things. And then fraternities, sororities, all of those. That would be really great to expand. Has anyone,
Yes.
yeah, I was going to say, has anyone else expanded beyond just the high schools and gone to the colleges and taken care of that?
With sororities and fraternities, you always have like the rush. That's a great time to. I mean, we do decor for that, but that's a great time to be involved with them as well. If you can figure out when they do it at your campuses, it can be a big thing. Lots of parties that week.
Love it.
Sue, you should do great with that.
With which one?
It's a rush week at SIU.
I've never heard of that, so I don't know what that is.
It's when all the sororities and fraternities try and get people to join.
Rush.
Oh, I didn't go to college, so I don't know the term. I did do the mailing that Tariq did a thing on. Like I did like the mailing out to all the schools and the churches and the daycares around here. I sent 300 out and I've gotten 5 schools, 2 churches, and 1 daycare so far.
What?
And I probably got about 15 that came back undeliverable. But
Mostly daycares, probably private daycares.
a lot of churches came back. So I used the website he had us go to. But I don't think I would have gotten them though without doing that mailing. But I spent a lot doing the mailing though. Because I had the flyers, the brochures made. That trifold thing, I had that made, and then of course the stamps and the envelopes, and yeah, that was a chore, but I got some out of it.
Well, and usually you can continue to propagate that business. So, but now when I send you the new document that I just created, you can get all those people to sign up for your Party Partners program and then make them earn you money.
I'll have to try that. Our
I'm
graduation.
limiting it to 10 miles around my business though. I'm not going to run a little further maybe for you because you're countrified, but I don't want to be running all over the place for people earning money. It needs to stay local on that because if it goes too broad, you're taking in, I don't mind helping the schools, but I don't want to be doing a whole bunch of inflatables 20 miles away. I like to keep those guys close to home. So there is a limitation on that, but I'm in a heavily populated area. So between the 2 cities, I got 500,000 people here. I can handle those 2 cities and their business and be fine with it.
That's more than a third of my entire state's population.
We actually did that. It's so funny you say that because when my husband was adding up the math on just 2 cities, not even the other 2 bordering main cities, like I service 4 main cities, but just the 2 big cities, he did the math on how many, it was like 497,000 or something was the 2 cities combined. And it is bigger than the population of 3 states. There are 3 states that don't even have that many people in them. Like, I think it was Utah. And Wyoming or something. And then we were still bigger than like 18 other states. Not bigger, but so we were more than 3 states, but like half of like a whole bunch of other states. I was like, that's just crazy to me that our little like 10-mile radius or 15-mile radius, it has more people in it than an entire state. Crazy. Crazy.
So our schools have a vendor website on their website, there's a link to sign up as a vendor with them. I found out
Cool.
about that being with the PTO, having to go down and do like my background check and stuff with the PTO. They were like, hey, you got to sign up the same as like a vendor does, yada yada. And so that's how like we started to like do that process, but never officially like finished it because we were already getting into our public schools here. We just had our second one, like they returned from last year, message us again for just like kind of like a celebration for the kids, not necessarily like field day or anything yet, but we are doing like my kids field day, another school's field day. I started grouping with some of the local PTOs and PTAs within our district that are also, they're the same district. We all kind of like join together, kind of bounce ideas off each other and stuff. So that's one way I'm going to try to get in there as well. Like, hey, I also do bounce houses. Here's my cards. Try to get in there with them. So I think like doing our school with like my kids is a lot easier because I'm there all the time. The teachers all know me. They all come to me for like this, that, the other field day, let's do an incentive at the end of the year. Let's do this, that, the other. That one was super easy. Some of the other ones, they came naturally, one being a PTO at an all girls school, one being the gym teacher just as like an incentive program. And that's without even doing the vendor fully like registration for that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I got a lot of orders without having to become a vendor from schools. It's just certain schools you have to be a vendor for, like, but a lot of schools they don't even have because I've gotten lots of orders. I done orders already this year in March for schools, and I got several of them coming up. But it's certain cities, certain counties require you to be a vendor, especially when you're working with elementary school kids. That's what mainly be hitting me up, elementary school kids. High schoolers, I've serviced them, but they don't ask for you to be a vendor. They just ask for you to sign certain documents or send in a W-9 and you're good to go.
So Amanda, do we need to circle back to graduation or are we good just to kind of free flow here?
Yeah, I mean, we're free flowing. I like it. But I know Caleb's here specifically because he wants to talk about graduation. So Kaleb, why don't you, do you have a question or something in particular about graduations that you want to talk about?
Honestly, not entirely. I was just kind of curious to see what other ideas other people had. Obviously, I've never done any of these before, but I figured since I have the nightclub that I think it would be graduation parties would be pretty epic. But I didn't think about prom after parties or anything like that. So that actually gave me a handful of ideas along with the party partner program. I'm really interested in that as well for some of my local schools because our schools are way different up here. Like they have a hard time wanting you to even be involved with them, and including giving them money. They're weird about it. But anyways, so I'm excited to reach out. Some of them have asked about doing because I do event lighting and Christmas lighting. That's the main business. So they've the last 5 or so years I've done like lighting for their school dances and stuff like as a in kind, but I'm excited to kind of see if I can reverse that a little bit into like the party partner program. So I'm kind of cool where this is going. Graduations, I kind of have an idea, a little bit of what I want to do. But I was just kind of curious to get other ideas that were coming in. So this has been really cool.
So are your clubs blackout?
So no, the first one is white and the whole walls light up and everything. So the daylight kind of poses a challenge. That's something I learned after I purchased it. But going forward, the next ones will be. The only difference is that the entire club lights up, which is pretty epic.
Mhm.
And even inside, if the lights are on, it's not as big of a deal. But like right outside in the middle of daylight, it's not the best. But anytime in the evening, and especially if it's dark, it makes for a really cool time.
So Kaleb, yeah, definitely. I encourage you to consider, if you're going forward, getting one of the blackout clubs and also offering a glow package, partnering with a balloon person that can actually do neon balloons. That is a high school slash tween party like bonanza right there. If you don't have somebody local you partner with on balloons, I might know somebody in your area. But if you can offer a club package, but then you can do like a balloon arch in front of it, um, just upsell somebody, hire somebody like me that'll come out and drop off a balloon arch for you. That is also like when I see them around here, I see that as part of it. But the glow thing, huge, like huge right now in resurgence. I don't know why, but get yourself some glow sticks.
I've seen that, and I see they do like the foam light up cannon things and
Yeah.
all kinds of
And
other stuff.
I
There's a
can
lot
get
of
you I get 20% off at Oriole Trading. So if you want to just give it a whirl and not invest in like a huge amount, I can always extend my discount and have it drop shipped to you. So
that would be awesome.
I just have to order like $300 or more or something like that to get it shipped for free and stuff. So always happy to, I just tell everybody put it in a cart and show me your cart and I'll tell you how much I can save you. So
No,
somebody has a question for
awesome.
me.
Not in regards to graduations, but more like vacation Bible schools. If I remember correctly, Stacie, you were the one that told us about the Santas.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I
so I've
am the
been
Santa. I am Santa
you know
Tetris
what I'm
Queen.
talking about. So, something that I've been looking to target is some of these local churches for like vacation Bible schools, because we're getting about that time that I should start like, hey, get in your face a little bit. Here I am. What do you recommend trying to get into like more of those events?
Okay, so vacation Bible schools around here run about a week. Is that the same for you?
Yes.
Okay. So usually in that week they have, X amount of budget for their entertainment. Quite frankly, what I see the most of with vacation Bible schools is a balloon twister, a face painter, a art and craft activity like spin art, sand art, whatever. And then they will end the week with whatever their theme is. So if their theme is, beach party or whatever, they might have an inflatable for that, but usually it might be like an inflatable and a snow cone. They kind of space out their week and they will have anywhere from a $200 budget to a $1,000 budget. I've never seen a vacation Bible school have more, and I have never found it to be a huge market. I do better with daycare centers that are planning their whole summer right now. Like my daycare centers are coming to me and saying, I have to fill 6 weeks of day camps. What can you do for me? I get more work off of the day camps than I do off of vacation Bible school. Now, again, my area is big and spread out, and I probably have 300 churches. So, they're all competing for people to come there. Whereas if you're in an area that doesn't have as many, you can probably see a much better turnout at vacation Bible school. I would go to them and I'd say, hey,
Thanks.
can you offer anything? I mean, I don't know what your whole inventory consists of. Can you offer any other extra stuff, bubble machines, crafts, anything else with it?
Yeah, so we have a couple add-ons. This is season 2 for us. So we have a total of 7 inflatables and then a couple add-ons like inflatable axe throwing tables, chairs, bubble blowers, snow cone machines. I'm definitely forgetting some things, but little things. We're still kind of small. We are in the
Well, their
Dayton.
stuff is going to happen through the week. I mean, I would take, given that you're year 2, I would look at, that you're still in your building phase, and maybe suggest that you come up with a offer too good to refuse. Say, hey, if you do it Monday through Thursday, I'm going to give you, a X amount with a free snow cone machine or whatever, and see if you can use that bait of your concession machine as like a value added instead of a discount, but a value added thing. Limit it to the day you would normally get work on it, and see if you can make that be like what you could push them over. Say, hey, this is a special only for Vacation Bible School, only for Monday through Thursday. But if you rent a bounce house from me, I'm going to throw in a snow cone machine. Don't throw in the supplies, just a snow cone machine. They have to get their own supplies or buy them from you. So
I don't
that
typically
might
do
be.
all together. I don't want to deal with the health board and all that stuff. So I literally only rent the snow cone machine.
Oh, you don't give them supplies.
Correct.
So in our area, it's only if we're serving it that we have to worry about that. The supplies, they could just buy off the shelf. It doesn't matter. So I'm not sure if it's different where you are, but you could usually just purchase through Gold Medal and just resell it at a markup.
All right, that was really awesome. I love that Kaylene brought up churches, because I know back home in Kansas, where I'm from, like those are really big. Church camps are really big. Vacation Bible School is really big. And so it'd be great to get more ideas, things that work for you to get into those churches and expand in those events. So I really like that. It's awesome. Thank
And
you.
I think that it was very pertinent that Tariq brought this up in a webinar or a conversation somewhere. Don't necessarily try and go to every church. Try and go to the next level up. Churches have different things that they call it, but maybe you go to the diocese, or maybe you go to the chapter, or maybe you go, or if you have one of the mega churches like we have around here that operates 8 churches, they have a person that takes care of all of that. So they said they had better luck with them spending money through from top down instead of down, individually at, ground level. I don't know if that pertains specifically to Vacation Bible School, but it might be like, hey, you pick it up, and like around here, like if I called the Diocese of Joliet, they have like 28 churches or something. I could be like, hey, we've got this going on. How do I get this information out to your churches? And Joanne would be like, oh, hey, I can send that out for you. So you might save yourself, have a little shortcut if you're in a situation where you are, like there's a parish, or there's an office that handles multiple, not events, but multiple church. I mean, they all report to somebody. So just a thought.
Alrighty, so we have a question here from Rob. Are you guys and gals trying to take market share at schools that already rent inflatables, or trying to convince them to rent at all for the first time?
Yeah, so I'll elaborate on that one a little bit there. So little background. First year, only got spun up 2-3 months ago. 7 inflatables right now. It seems, at least kind of the gist I was getting going through all the Facebook groups, and I'm in God knows how many of them. But reading the same posts all the time that gets posted in different groups, it seemed to me like it was the norm for schools and all that to be renting inflatables, right? Like that was the normal thing that all schools did, and then whoever it was on the Facebook group is trying to make their company the one that the school rents from. Whereas around me, I'm in Northwest Jersey, so not the New Jersey that everybody thinks of. We have farms and stuff. So
Cows. Do you have Jersey cows?
I look out my window and I look at a herd of cows and horses every day. Every day. Yeah, I'm not the Jersey that you see when you fly into Newark Airport. But but it seemed to me like it was the norm, right? That schools rent inflatables for their events, whereas around here, that's not a thing. Um, Also with kind of like the backyard parties, which I guess is a beautiful thing for me just starting out. So my biggest thing hasn't been so much grabbing market share and trying to beat someone else out. It's more so talking to the schools and even people hosting parties, right, for the backyard game, and just telling them like, no, you should have an inflatable at your party. Like, look at how awesome this is. Um, so it's I don't want to say it's a newer thing around here because there is two companies that do it relatively close to me that rent inflatables, but they're kind of rental companies that happen to have inflatables. Like they rent heavy machinery as well and everything under
Yeah.
the sun. So, and they're very good. I know both the guys. I talked to them both, and they both told me, please, dear God, do inflatable rentals and then buy out all my inflatables because I don't want to do it. Um, they're making $1,000 a day on a crash truck out on the interstate that they're renting out. So they have no desire to do the $350 combo. But I was just wondering if it's more so you guys are talking to schools that don't rent inflatables and trying to market yourself to them, or is it kind of the norm in your area that schools rent inflatables and you're just trying to market your specific business to be the one that they patronize?
For me, it's the second.
Okay. And if I remember from last week, I think you're in the Chicago area.
Yeah, we're
Right.
south suburbs of Chicago. So
Okay.
you've got Chicago, which is like a cookie, and then we're
Yep.
in that like outer edge of the cookie.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's super interesting that like it's just the norm that schools rent inflatables because I grew up around here and I've never seen an inflatable out of school. And we've done well just with, I mean, the marketing campaign to the schools has been just me Googling email addresses and reaching out to them and going, hey, check this out. And we have 6 schools right now booked for end of year parties and whatever else because I just don't think it's been something that's crossed anyone's mind around here, which is great.
I
My
think that
kid,
that's awesome that you've got that untapped market. That's just, and remember, those kids are your customers. So leave cards, get the schools to promote you, whatever you can do. I mean, that's your client base that's playing on those inflatables.
my kids' school, their elementary school specifically, we have many schools in our district. We're Dayton, Ohio, so Dayton Public Schools is where my kids go to school. And their school actually had their own bounce houses for several years. And about 2 years ago, they got put away wet and destroyed. And so now I was like, hey, I have bounce houses. I know you don't want to buy new ones. And building that relationship with the teachers. And we've had several principals, unfortunately, over the years. And so I finally have a principal that's like, yeah, let's get the fun stuff in here. And the new gym teacher's like, yes, we need stuff for field day. Like bring the bubbles, bring the obstacle course, bring that stuff in here. We want it.
Yeah, my
That's
biggest
awesome.
problem I wound up having is I bought the company that used to be like the cheap bounce company, and we're not the cheap bounce company. So all the schools come back to me with their invoice from like pre-COVID and go, we used to get it for $195. And I'm like, well, that's your delivery fee.
Well, that's something that I was expecting to run into up by me. Because given the fact that we are kind of in farmland, right? Which Jersey farmland is obviously different than, Midwest farmland. But if you look at the maps and the income maps, we're, top 3 poorest counties in New Jersey, which again, when you're talking about Jersey, it's like being the poorest one in LA. But it's I was expecting more pushback on pricing, because I kind of matched the other 2 guys in the area's pricing on the combos, but I went over them on the slides. So I was kind of expecting some pushback on that, and I haven't had a single complaint at all. And that's, at $400 for a single lane 15-foot slide. So I'm pleasantly surprised at the lack of pushback on the pricing, because I was really expecting that.
Well, I always go to pricing in my head, and I break it down, and sometimes I do this for clients. I don't know how long is your rental period?
I have it on the website as 10 hours.
Okay, so at 10 hours, you're paying $40 an hour to keep those kids entertained. I don't know what your
Yeah.
delivery fee is. So I know around here, babysitters cost like $20 an hour. So it's like 2 babysitters per hour for 10 hours. I usually try and divide it out by what like the base rental rate is, and then go, well, if you factor that out, it's just this much per hour. In my head, I think about what would an average family pay to go to the movies and buy dinner, and not that it's the same, but when you start talking about those bigger parts, bigger chunks that would be more expensive, you also have to sometimes take a step back in the perspective of, all right, well, if they were going to go to Chuck E. Cheese, they were going to spend $250 anyway. So, it's not as huge of a jump when this is going to keep those kids busy for, in your case, 10 hours, and 100% guaranteed that is like your biggest babysitter at any party. Everybody knows this. Nobody watches their kids. They're all rambunctious. And, they just use the bounce house goes down, the guests go away. Like, oh, bounce is gone, we're out of here. So, we used to come, we take the bounce down. I literally could watch all the guests be gone by the time that the bounce house got wrapped up. We're like, what happened? No good food? So sometimes I frame it that way to make myself feel better about charging a small fortune for something.
It does make sense. That's been one of my bigger, at least Facebook marketing pushes. The line I've used is, hire your inflatable babysitter for the day. So I'm glad you said that. It means I'm on the right track there.
That was the big thing for COVID. They were just like, rent a bounce for the day because you can't do anything else. You can't go to the movies, you can't go out to eat, instead just rent my bounce for $125 or whatever it was back then that everybody was rock bottom pricing it. So glad we're past those days. At least I hope we're past those days for the most part.
It's crazy you say that, Stacie, because I definitely, that was one of the first times during COVID when everyone was stuck at home that I noticed how many bounce houses people were actually renting and putting in their backyards. And I'm like, wow, everybody really loves their kids. They like really love them a lot to get them a bounce house in their backyard.
No, they were really tired of their children.
Really tired. They wanted
them a bounce house and said, go outside.
Get out.
Get away from the TV.
I love it. I love it. So we are at the 55, right? So I did want to ask this group because I know there's so much more that we could talk about. But I was hoping to get some topics that are close to your guys' hearts that you'd like to talk about, because I'd like to schedule in the future. Obviously, we can go in different directions, but it's kind of nice to have an overarching topic so you know what you're coming into. Today was sort of graduation. If we want to do another graduation one, that'd be awesome. Maybe later down the line. I know Stacie's got her own business. She's got her own child at home. She's really, really busy. So I don't want to keep her, too many Tuesdays. But I do want to do these every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. CST. So I want to have topics you guys want to talk about. So if you have a topic in mind that you'd like to talk more about, then I'd love for you to put it in the chat so I can get those on the schedule. So really great thing that Stacie brought up, the Party Partners program. That's really, really cool. I'm going to give you a phone number to text that if you'd like more information about that, I can get with Stacie. I can get you that information, ask questions, things like that I can relay. Also, I love that Kaylene brought up the PTO and the PTA and reaching out to them specifically for schools. She also mentioned vacation Bible schools, which is a whole another market there. Queda, thank you so much for bringing up colleges, college bookings. She's been doing really well with those high schools and becoming a vendor. So becoming a vendor for schools might be something in the future for a lot more of us. Sue, thank you so much for telling us about how your flyers went out, and that was a lot of work, and kudos to you for being able to like put stamps on everything and do that. So congratulations on those bookings. And then Kaleb, 20% off Oriental Trading Company for some glow sticks. So hit us up so that way we can help Stacie get you that discount. I like that you mentioned daycares are better than churches in your particular area, Stacie, so that may be something people want to look into. And then Rob, thank you so much for clarifying your question there about schools not having inflatables. That's, you know, every area is different, so that's really cool that you're tapping that market. And coming up with inflatable babysitters, I put that down because I'd like a bumper sticker. Get me an inflatable babysitter. Like, I like that. So I'm gonna put that down. All right. Okay, so I'll put the phone number in the chat, and Stacie, thank you so much for sharing all of your great wisdom and just coming in 2 weeks in a row here and telling us all the things that we need to know about the business.
And I will not be cognizant next week on Tuesday, so I will not likely be here. If I am here and I say things that don't make any sense, it's because I'm under like recovery anesthesia. So so please make sure you mute me.
Absolutely, you're good. You're good. You've done your good deeds for the community here, because we're definitely taking all of those nuggets and we're gonna use them, right? Yep.
Hopefully my knowledge can benefit somebody.
Absolutely, absolutely. Alrighty. Well, any topics in the chat, anything that you guys would like in the future? It's just me making it up from here on out. That's fine. Like, I do that all the time, so I'm good with that. But if you do have any topics, then you're more than welcome to text in, or you can put in the chat. And other than that, if everybody wants to do a group photo before we leave, I would love that. Tariq always loves our group photos. So if you'd like to stick around, you want to get on camera, I'll do a little group photo, and I will warn you this time. So feel free to stick around. If not, then have an absolutely wonderful, wonderful day. All right, evening. There we go. All right, we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All righty. Okay, I think that about wraps it up. Thank you guys. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
See you next time.
And you guys, I put this out there before, but if anybody, you know, wants to ask me any questions, you can feel free to, you know, friend request me on Facebook if you want.